evening everybody, Car Biker here, and I'm just enjoying the last of the evening sunshine. Just in case it don't come up again tomorrow, you know, gonna make the most of it. Make hay while the sun shines. Sounds a lot like work actually. Ride motorbikes while the sun shines, sounds like much more fun. Anyway, I thought I'd just do a quick video, kind of related to a topic that I watched today. I watched the infamous bikers video, which was should cyclists have insurance or have to have insurance. And I'm not answering that one today, though. I might, because the overwhelming majority of people who answered said yes they should, and I don't think they should. Maybe that's because I'm a cyclist, but anyway, I might well do an answer video if I can be bothered, and if I can think of all of the arguments why they shouldn't. But after I'd watched it, I sent Kev a message, and I said, I think another topic might be, should car drivers have to have insurance? And it might be one that, for UK ears, comes out as a, well, of course they should. It's the law. But I'll come back to that. Let's say the law didn't say that you had to have insurance as a car driver. What then? Should you have insurance? Is it a good thing to have insurance? Now the logic of knowing that if you get hit by another car, that they should have insurance is great. Yeah, you know that, you know, your car, in theory, if it's their fault, or even if it's not their fault actually, but you'll get your car repaired. Great, how, you know, brilliant, or replaced, or whatever it might be, written off, and some money. But you won't be entirely out of pocket, just inconvenienced, or maybe a little bit out of pocket. So I understand that, and that's you know, potentially a good thing. But what does insurance actually do? All insurance does is protect you against losses. So the idea of insurance is, I get insurance for something that otherwise I would have to pay for. That's what all insurance is about, really. Isn't it? You know, if I have a crash, I would have to repair my car. Or, if I caused a crash and damaged somebody else's machinery, or person, or, you know, whatever it might be, I would have to pay for that. And what happens is the insurance pays for it instead. So that means that all the money that goes into insurance every year, a lot of it ends up in profit for the insurance companies, who seem to make up prices. I don't know where they pull them from, but they come out smelly. But a lot of it goes into profit for the insurance companies. The rest goes out into payouts. So essentially, if you have an accident, I pay a bit. So here's a little thought experiment. If there wasn't insurance available, and you had an accident, and you still have the same liability, you still have to make sure that you repair that other person's car or whatever you damage. If we didn't have insurance, that little accident that would cost you 200, 300, 400, 500 pounds maybe in an excess charge, that 500 pounds might not be 500 pounds. You might be hitting something and doing 10,000 pounds worth of damage. Hit a Ferrari, you might be doing 50,000 pounds worth of damage, or 100,000 pounds worth of damage, and you'd have to pay that. So does insurance, as well as protecting us, actually just mean that everybody has to pay for your mistake? And if everybody didn't have to pay for your mistake, might that make people a little bit more safety conscious? Might that make people think twice before texting or driving drunk or just not paying attention? Might they think, actually, it could cost me a lot of money, this? I know in theory, you know, the chances for injury are no different with or without insurance, and the threat of injury doesn't put people off. But then I've talked about that before. It used to put people off when the threat was more real. Now everybody's in their metal boxes with aircon and crash structures and all this other stuff, where they see all these adverts of cars being hit by wrecking balls and coming out of it okay. You get this false sense of safety, but you can't get that false sense of safety when it comes to your money, can you? When it comes to having to pay out for that accident that you caused. Now, this isn't an argument that says we should get rid of insurance. Obviously not. But I just wanted to play devil's advocate maybe on the car side of things and say it's not all necessarily good. The other thing is, I mean, I mentioned that insurance companies seem to take the something steamy when it comes to the cost of insurance. And of course they can, because even though it's not a monopoly and they're in theory in competition with each other, in general, when you do an insurance quote, when you do a compare the meerkat or whatever it might be, in general, the top 4 or 5 are the same people every time, and are different, in my case, for car insurance, different by maybe £2. I mean, last time I did an insurance quote, I think the one that I went with wasn't actually the cheapest, but it wasn't much different. It was kind of something like £102 for car insurance with the cheapest, and £102.18 for the second one. And the second one had a much better write-up, and I thought, well, I'll pay the 18p for that extra service, that should I need it. You know, call me a spendthrift. That's an extra £1.50 a month that I've thrown away. So call me a spendthrift. But I went with that extra one. But, you know, getting down to maybe the 10th one on the list, it was still only £110, £115. It wasn't making a huge amount of difference. So why are they all about the same price? Because it's clearly not competing that much. Well, it's because they know you've got to buy it. It's a bit like water, isn't it? And electricity and gas, if you've got gas heating. You've got to buy it. You haven't got a choice. So in this case, it's a legal requirement rather than just wanting to eat and stay warm. You have to have that insurance, or the policeman can take your car away and crush it. And you can get 6 points on your licence, and do that twice, you haven't got a licence anymore. So maybe another side effect of not making insurance compulsory might be that it went down in price, because they'd have to cut the margins a bit to, you know, try and get your business if you didn't have to have it. So I'm not saying we should get rid of compulsory insurance, really. Just kind of throwing that seed of doubt out there, maybe. And you can shoot me down in the comments by all means. But I do think we could do a better job of it. I think that, you know, some countries in Europe have a nice model for this. Rather than having tax and insurance that you pay separately, you could reduce all of the admin requirement and the cost associated with that admin by removing them altogether. So get rid of tax, get rid of the third party element of insurance, and just whack some money on the price of fuel. I mean, it might be 20p a litre, but that means that you can't fiddle insurance anymore. If your tax is paid for in your fuel and your third party insurance is paid for on your fuel, that means that everybody on the road that might collide with you is definitely taxed and definitely insured, because they've got to buy the fuel. They can't get away from it. It gets rid of this problem that we have massive admin to cover this, and that people can stop insuring the car and nobody notices because the admin is so huge on it. It would get rid of this idea that you could get away without having tax or insurance at all, and you would know that the person who potentially is going to hit you would always be insured. It would get rid of the need for things like the motor insurance board. The fact that, if you don't know about motor insurance board, this is the one that means that if you are in an accident with an uninsured driver, you can actually claim against them and get a payout, and you can, you know, get your costs paid and get injuries paid for and things like that, even though the driver was uninsured. They're still getting a lot of trouble and hopefully, get a good kick in. But you're not out of pocket for it. But you wouldn't need that anymore because everybody would have third-party insurance. So you would remove that element of the risk of people not having insurance. If people decided to stick with a minimum, then they would have that concern. If I hit somebody, I'm going to have to pay for it. And if you wanted to, you could pay extra and get fully comprehensive insurance, but you'd only be paying the extra, not the sometimes exorbitant values that people are asking for, or insurance companies ask for now. Personally, I think that's a better model. I think it works for everybody, and it's probably simpler. And it would force the insurance companies to compete more, because they would want your business, because you didn't have to buy from them. Anyway, as I say, shoot me down in the comments or agree with me in the comments. Either way, it's interesting, so let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, everyone. Ride safe. This corner would be so much better if the road surface wasn't so horrible. And I'll talk to you all again soon. Ta-da!